Hello, everybody. It's Geraint Thomas here from Guided Innovation. For those that are new to me, my head is all geek. I love the latest technologies, and my heart is social care here in the UK. So I'm very motivated to see how social care can use technology to solve its problems. Now, I'm particularly interested in CQC's new strategy, and I've got an unboxing video for you today. So CQC have sent me 4 boxes. So that's one for each of the strategic themes that they've got, and those themes are people and communities, safety through learning, smarter regulation, and accelerated improvement. So I'm really looking forward to see what's in these boxes. We'll open them together. So I'll be unboxing them at the same time as I'm sure you, as people that work in health and social care, are probably looking at how this strategy is going to impact you as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. But first, I've also got to talk to you quickly about the themes that CQC are suggesting run through this strategy. And I do welcome these themes, to be honest. So the first one is they want to reduce inequalities. Through the pandemic, it certainly highlighted to CQC some of the geographical disparities, socioeconomic differences as well. And I really welcome CQC trying to tackle that in the UK. Having said that, I do hope it's not just a buzzword that CQC are using. So I really hope they're wholehearted in this. And the other one is around systems. Now, it's not technical systems. They're talking here about not just looking at an organization siloed on its own. They're looking about how it fits in with the wider health and social care sector, particularly in their area. As to their success at doing that, I'll be very interested to see. But they are promising us that these two themes run throughout all 4 of these areas. So why wait? Let's get stuck in. Now, you know what? Let's start with. I mean, this is certainly the heaviest one. I think it's. So look at the label. So this one is. So this is people and communities. So CQC have always really, haven't they, been focused on people. They focus on the residents, the patients, the service users in organisations. They speak to all the staff. They speak to the families. And things like that to make assessments. So they've always kind of done this kind of stuff, but I'm interested to know what's new. So if I just give it, I think, I can smell a lot of equality going on in this box. There's an awful lot there, I think. I'm really excited that CQC are going to start looking at equality when it comes to people and communities in particular. I think that's going to be really interesting because it's so diverse, even within different areas of the same city. So if they're going to start doing equality-focused activities in the community, this box is going to be full of it. In terms of systems, I just give it a little rattle. Yeah, you know what? Actually, again, when it comes to communities and people, the idea that they're going to look at it across the whole sector, the whole system, instead of just at an individual area, that's nice. That's really, really neat. So, okay, I'm just going to open it up. Oh, there's a lot of people. There's a lot going on in here. Okay, so hang on a minute though. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of. To be honest, it's just a big mirror. So CQC with this part of their strategy, when I've watched videos and read things from them, they mention far more often themselves than they do people and communities. What they're trying to do, I think, with this strategy is certainly invite the community, invite people to share more with CQC. So they want to make themselves more accessible for people. They want to advertise more about what they do. So they're going to try and encourage the public and the circles of support of the people you're looking after and staff and suppliers and commissioners to kind of really share a bit more with them, which I think's interesting. Now, they've done something that's really quite unnerving in a way. I don't know how they're going to do it, and that is they're suggesting that they're going to ask people what they want from an outstanding service, a good service. What does good and outstanding look like to them? Hang on, are they then going to assess against that? This is going to be interesting. So they're going to ask perhaps patients what an outstanding GP practice or care home or domiciliary service is, and then hold them accountable. I'll be honest, I can tell you a bunch of people that I've spoken to and asked them what would make this care home better, and their answer quite often is whiskey on tap. I think it's going to be very interesting. Are they going to ask patients and residents what outstanding should be and then tailor that? CQC have never tailored really their criteria for assessment. You know, they've got their key lines of inquiry, the Chloe's. Why would they? I know I'd welcome some sort of tailoring, you know, to look at things more bespoke to the area that they're in, but how are they going to do it? I think they're going to focus on getting care organizations to be more outward facing. I think they're going to encourage you to engage your community, be well known out there so that people know your brand, know that you're there, know that your building in wherever location you are is available and does great things and works magic. I think CQC are going to want you to really look out there for other organizations, other partners, other groups that could perhaps work with you to offer a better experience. But you know, CQC are the ones that I think are trying to benefit from this more than perhaps you. They are certainly looking to see how they can engage with the community a lot more and about how they can listen to their community and be accessible by their community. So, you know, I think this is a win for CQC, particularly if they can use that to spot areas of inequality. It'll certainly help them with the system thing where they can see, you know, this person was onboarded here and they were discharged over there, and the experience was, you know, they loved it at the beginning, but you could see from their responses they perhaps got downhearted as they went through the journey. I think that's the kind of stuff CQC are looking for. So I think this is a big win for them. In terms of yourselves, you know, I'm going to put this box out of the way. And what are my thoughts on this? If I can just wrap that one up for you, I've got 3 for you, and I'll try and come up with 3 each time I open a box. But I think you've got to get people talking. I think you need to make sure that people who know about you, people who engage you, people who perhaps even work with you are talking about what you do. Not putting anybody at risk, but certainly getting your name out there, getting people thinking about and talking about, oh, did you know that there's that amazing nursing home down the road? It says that. I heard it's doing this. I heard this. I heard that. I think that's going to be useful because that's going to find its way back to CQC. You know, this is the obvious and the cheesy. I'm sorry in the world of sales, but, you know, if you get a nice letter from somebody, encourage them to go and give you a Google review. I think if there's positive news stories from any of your community about your organization, you need to encourage them to be putting it on these public platforms like Google reviews. And my third one, and I'm sorry, this is just me being completely blunt, be bold. If somebody has written you an amazing email or an amazing letter or has just verbally said, thank you so much for what you're doing for my mum, my daughter, my sister, my brother, be bold and say to them, you know what, that thanks means a hell of a lot for me and my staff. Can I encourage you to share that with CQC, please? Can I encourage you to go on their website, their platform? There's loads of ways you can. I mean, if you've got a tablet in the office or a laptop, turn it around to them and say, you know what, I'll make you a cup of tea if you don't mind just sharing what you've just said to me with CQC. I think now's the time for care organizations to really advertise back to CQC the great news stories of what you do. So, you know, I welcome this one. Interesting to see what CQC do with it over the next 5 years. Yeah, that's people and community. Okay, what have we got next? Okay. This is a lighter box. This is a light box. It's sturdy. You know, it's not very heavy. I'll be honest, not very heavy at all. But so this is safety through learning. That CQC have sent me. I mean, let me just, you know what? Let me see if I can stand on this. Hey, look at that. Okay, so this is a sturdy old thing. This is a good one. So let's have a smell for any equality on this one. So Yeah, definitely. In terms of safety and through learning, when they're doing these assessments, when they're doing these things, they're certainly going to be a very powerful position to ensure equality is happening throughout these services. So regardless of geographically where you're placed, the security is of the utmost importance. So yeah, I really welcome that. And in terms of okay, the system side of things, the fact that they're going to look at your safety in terms of not just your organization but the wider um, sector as people come and go from your sites, because they're going to start looking at that now. Again, this is going to have a lot of that in there. But right, no further ado. I'm really keen to get into this one. Okay, so all right, a bit confused by this one because, ladies and gentlemen, this one's empty. So hang on, CQC. You've come up with a new 5-year strategy, safety through learning. Hasn't that been the strategy all along? I can't see anything new here. I think you're a regulator. As you've said in videos I've watched and things that I've read, in the nicest possible way, you're stick, you're not carrot. With the smile on your face, you will shut us down. Actually, no, I don't. What's the term that CQC uses? We're not afraid to act. We will be quick to act. They'll shut you down. So, bit confusing here, CQC. Safety through learning. You've always done that. That's always been a very forceful approach of CQC. It's been your passion. You'll come in and you will root out bad practice where things are not safe. You will put things in place for the organization to ensure it gets better. It's welcome from a regulator. That's exactly what you're there for. So this is brilliant. What specific things have you said? I've heard you talk about experts, giving care organizations access to experts. I think that's great. That is valuable, really valuable. I think lots of care organizations are already doing this. They are in themselves experts at what they do. There's always going to be things like IT, hiring, contracts, things like that perhaps is not their forte. And as a care organization, you might want to go outside to find that expertise and skill. But hopefully CQC can point you towards that. I don't expect they're going to give it to them through them, but I think they're going to give it to you perhaps from third-party organizations. So interesting idea there. They talked also about it being consistent. This is coming back to equality perhaps to a degree, so that things are consistent across health and social care. Again, CQC, you've always done that. You're incredibly consistent. One set of key lines of inquiry across social care, regardless of whether you're a dementia service or not, whether you're a nursing home or not, whether you're an extra care or not. You're not tailoring anything. So I don't really see any difference from you there. And again, the third thing I heard from you was you talked about all levels. So CQC talked about making sure that they do actually talk to all levels within an organization. But again, CQC have always done that. And if you want a quick hack from me, when CQC turn up, please don't spend long with them. If you're a manager, if you're an owner, if you're a team leader, don't spend long with them. Introduce them straight away to one of your support staff, your grassroots staff, and allow CQC have an experience with them for the first 10 minutes of their visit with you. It's incredibly powerful to the inspector when they come. There's a little hack for you then. So in terms of safety, what am I going to suggest for 3 things? First, keep up the good fight. I think CQC aren't going to really do much very different here. They're going to keep doing what they do very well. So, keep fighting the good fight on that one. Learning, betterment. They talk about this quite a lot. They're going to want to see people at all levels. So you company owners that you put your staff through horrible mandatory e-learning, I know you do, but I'm afraid I think you're going to have to start thinking about how you can grow as a business owner or as an operator of a care organization. So yeah, I'm afraid you're going to have to find perhaps coaching, mentoring, things like that. And my third thing is write it all down. We all know this. CQC love evidence, evidence, evidence. So if you are going through coaching to support you to be a better leader, if you're putting your staff through any kind of training, make sure it's evidence. Make sure this stuff is written down and available for CQC. So yeah, there's my 3 on safety through learning. Let's move that one out of the way. Okay, we've got, now, I know you're not going to have favorites, but I do have a couple of favorites. So this is one of them. It's very light. This one's very light. So this is smarter assessments, smarter regulation, smarter regulation. And it's going to be an interesting one. So let's look for some equality in this one. Okay, I'm not really smelling much there, not much equality here. So this is the idea that CQC are going to want, and bear in mind when I say smarter regulation, it's smart in capitals. It's like your smart meter, your smart telly. For those of you that got it, the smart doorbell that gives you a video of what's going on. So, this is what we're talking about here. And in terms of equality, I think there's two sides to it, but we'll come to that. We'll see what comes out when we look into it. But in terms of the system, now I'm really sorry, you probably can't hear that on my microphone. I'm really sorry, but when it comes to looking at the whole system rather than the siloed individual site that they're inspecting, it's rattling, it's broken. How can they possibly try and collect data information and share data information across a whole system when we all use different terminology, when we use different systems, when there's no standardization in social care particularly? It's going to be fascinating to see how they do this. But look, let's get into it. Okay. Oh, it's just a big cloud. Oh, it's a few. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is data. They didn't want to use the word data, so they've used the word smart. Yeah, that's quite smart, I'll be honest. So CQC are talking to us about data. Now, we already know there's a few things we have to report on a regular basis to CQC, incidents, deprivations of liberty, deaths, things like that. I think there's 7 in total, so we certainly report those, don't we? But they want more. So CQC have a problem. We all know this, a fundamental problem that they spend a lot of time and effort trying to solve. CQC only know what's going on in an organization when they're there. So if they inspect somebody once in a year, they only know that you're outstanding for that one period of time, or you needed improvement for that one period of time. CQC are trying to solve that. They're trying to get an insight into what's going on in an institution, into a service with regularly. They want that smart doorbell. They want to hear an alarm, they want to press a button, and they want to be able to have a video into a care home or a service or a hospital or a GP surgery. So that's what they want to do. That's what they're trying to solve here with the smarter regulation. I think we all knew it was coming, didn't we? I think we all knew we were going to have to share more information with CQC, not just when they turn up at the door, but regular intervals throughout time. So they're talking about using this. So here's some of the terms that they're using: dynamic and targeted assessments. So rather than this kind of regular, you'll have one every X years, depending on your scores, they are talking about doing a more dynamic and targeted assessment. So how are they going to do that? So they're going to, what are they going to do? See that, going back to that safety box, safety, maybe they're seeing that safety statistics are going down in your area. Are they going to suddenly come and evaluate you for safety? Or well led under the Chloes? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to be very interesting to see how they change their regular regimented assessment into a more dynamic one. It's going to be very interesting. They've also shared to us that their output's changing. So rather than having that report you get at the end of an assessment, that's going to be far more dynamic as well and relevant. I will welcome CQC to warn me that perhaps, let's imagine we're reporting falls or fluid intake or whatever it might be. CQC to say statistically in your area falls are going up, or in your area this has happened. Bear in mind we're talking about systems. They're going to start looking at things joined up. Would CQC perhaps alert us when the NHS trust in the area is having difficulties? Their waiting lists have hit a certain point. Are they going to kind of warn us about that? it's going to be very interesting. But this comes back to my point about the system point being a little bit broken. How are they really going to be able to get data from a complex care environment and a hospital, and local authority data, and domiciliary care data, and a supported living environment, and they're going to try and marry that data up and compare it? That's dangerous. Whenever you talk about data, it's going to be very interesting. But in terms of equality, let me come back to that point. This is going to be phenomenal for CQC, isn't it? CQC are going to be able to see a lot of data over a large area on a lot of things. Make no mistake, they're going to pick up a set of KPIs and ask you to report on that. There's going to be a lot of things, hopefully good news stories, not just bad, because the 7 things you report at the moment are very negative focused. I mean, where's the positive? So I think that we're going to see a lot more equality-focused reporting and statistical analysis from CQC. But how does that help us? How does that help a care organisation? How is it helping you with stamping out any inequality by having to report data to them? Or CQC telling you that there might be inequality in your area? I mean, you're in your area, you know. So it's going to be tricky. I think this is one that's going to really benefit CQC and allow them to do a better job. But in terms of yourself, how is that helping you? I'm not entirely sure. So what are my 3 kind of wrap-up points on this one? Digitalization, it's now, everybody. I think if you have any information you think CQC might want one day soon that isn't digital, start capturing it digitally. So for example, if CQC are going to ask you to report to them every time you get a good letter or a good piece of feedback, not just a complaint, keep that, take a photo of it, store it electronically somewhere where you can search it, perhaps go to that effort of retyping it out into an Excel spreadsheet. But if you don't have processes in place to digitalize things you think CQC are going to want, start doing it. Sort your data out. Most care organizations now will use at least 1 or 2 systems, a payroll system, finance, HR, rostering. There's loads of fantastic tech out there. I think that the time is now to be contacting those suppliers going, hi, how do I get to this data? My regulator could ask for this data any day now. How do I get to everything I need on this? So yeah, definitely focus on data in your organization and whether it's standardized, whether it's easy to get to. And I think that needs to be a focus. And the third one I would suggest is engage CQC. CQC are learning on this one. They're going to want to work out what information and data is important for them to ask for and collect. Become the authority on this. Contact CQC quite regularly saying, hi, we've just implemented whatever, and it's given us access to this data. Is that useful for you? Is there somewhere I can put this for you to use? I can nominalize it, yes, GDPR data, all that, please be mindful of it. But it's not going to be difficult for you to be able to share data with CQC. They're going to make it easy. They have to. So yeah, speak to them. Speak to them regularly. We've got this data, do you want it? We've got this, do you want it? What kind of data are you going to want to ask from us? We're doing our strategy for next year. Can you share anything around what kind of data you think you're going to be asking for in the near future? Yeah, engage CQC on this one. I'd encourage you. Okay, one more left. A little chest. Okay. I know you're not allowed favorites, but this is mine. This is mine. This is lovely. So this is accelerating improvement. We've all tried to improve, but if CQC is suggesting they can help us accelerate that, brilliant. So let's see if there's any equality in here. None. Nothing at all. So they're going to want us to improve. They're going to want us to accelerate our improvement using systems, technologies, processes, people, expertise. Everything I just reeled off costs money, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of equality, CQC going to support us in that? How are we going to be able to fund it? If we're from in an area of low economic backgrounds, I mean, how possibly could we improve at the rate of somebody who's based where things are quite rosy and there's disposable income. Yeah, a bit worried about that one. But what about in terms of systems? What about now if we have there's something, it's small, I'll be honest, it is small. If they're going to try and look for improvement across an area, across a sector, across a geographic, across an area, a group of organizations that perhaps engage with each other, it's hard enough getting the systems for one care home working, let alone get it working with NHS, with local authorities, with the discharge things, the charities in the area. That's going to be fun. But let's see. Let's see what's in here. So, oh, it is like a treasure chest. I do like it. Oh, they've got the words. I have been speaking to CQC for close to a decade, and I've begged them to use the word innovation, and they have finally. They've used the word innovation. They're not scared of people trying something new. Hang on, I wonder how that works with safety through learning. Hi, we're accelerating our innovation and trying new things. Some things didn't work and the safety went down, I'm afraid. Oh, that's fine, guys. Don't worry about safety. You innovated. I think I'm being a bit optimistic there, aren't I? But it's wonderful to see that. And when you listen to CQC talk about this strategy, they do talk about technology. They talk about tools, processes, suppliers, to try and do things differently, to do things better. And you know what? It's timely. Well done, CQC. You're not late to the party. You're not early either. We've got assistive technologies, we've got wearable technologies, we've got data, we've got systems. There's a lot now available to social care that really does empower personalization and support the amazing staff and residents and service users and patients. So, you're good. I'm glad you're saying this stuff. I'm really pleased that you're talking about this. But there's a bit of a hole. There's a hole in this strategy, in this box, CQC. Let me tell you what this hole is. Now, CQC are quite famous for never, ever recommending or putting their name to tools, solutions, suppliers. They will never do it. That's not what they do, because they know, suppliers know the CQC brand. If they could put that on their product, boom, they're going to sell. So CQC be very careful not to ever do this, to the point where I'm pretty sure if somebody turns around and goes, "Hi CQC, we've just cured dementia," CQC would say, "That's nice, but please take our logo off your website." That's what they never do that. But CQC are saying a lot about pointing care organizations to where they can get support for improvement. They're talking about cohorts, bringing companies, organizations, empowering people together to be able to then signpost organizations to it. You've never done this before, CQC. Yes, you hold hands with organizations when no one's looking, like NICE and the King's Fund, and that's brilliant. You empower them, which is fantastic because they're great organizations. But you've never done it on this kind of scale. And should I tell you something I'm a bit scared about? I am scared. Sadly, our sector is the target of large organizations that try to profiteer from social care. There's a lot of companies out there that offer software, systems, hardware, consultancy, and things like that charge a phenomenal day rate. They leave behind them failed implementations, failed systems over and over again. Microsoft CRM, anyone? It's really difficult to get things right in terms of technology. So CQC, are you going to endorse any of these? Are you going to make a cohort, a coalition, where you do have some of the largest software vendors in there? I don't know how you're going to do it. I welcome you trying. I think there's an awful lot of care organizations out there that would love a steer. For example, we're trying to do something about trips and falls. We're trying to do something about our staff data. We're trying to recruit in a new way or do learning in a new way. Does anybody know where this is going? And CQC can come in and go, "Oh, there's a thing over there that you can go and speak to. They're very good at that." which is interesting. I can't see how they're going to do it without compromising that brand. But here's what they can do. Here's what they could do, and I've seen them do it already, and I think we might see this as a bit prevalent. Care home A is struggling with something, and the CQC say to them, Care home B over here does it really well. They've implemented an app that does it. You might want to speak to them. Now, I've seen CQC do this already, so it depends on the inspector you get. But if they're going to formalize that idea, the idea that what they can do is point social organizations to social care organizations. Now, that's interesting. That's something that I welcome. The other thing that CQC have talked about is benchmarking, which leads to what I've just said as well, doesn't it? This idea that CQC might say, there's this many organizations, there's this many companies that do this really well. Let's imagine digital medication administration. There's loads of companies that do this. It's now over 50% of nursing organizations do this. Therefore, it's become the norm. You're now missing out if you're not doing it. They've evidenced benefits. They've seen a reduction in medication administration errors. They've seen a reduction in MAR errors. Therefore, you guys should use it. And they're going to do that kind of benchmarking, companies that are doing it, companies that aren't. That's interesting. That's interesting. I guess they're going to get that data from the smarter regulation that we've looked at. So, yeah, I welcome the benchmarking, actually. I think it'd be really good. Really good to be able to look at other organizations across the UK that do similar to you and be able to work out what could enhance your offering from it. So that's really good. So what are my 3 points for this one? Do change. Do it. I've got no doubt right now, if you're looking at this and you're a leader in a care organization, there's probably a business case to implement a system. There's probably a member of staff that uses an app with his or her residents that's awesome, and she says everyone should use it. I bet there's these little pockets of things that are going on in your organization right now. Do them. I think you shouldn't be scared to do it. I think the wind has changed now, where if you don't, CQC are going to ask. They're going to come in and do an assessment and go, in a year's time, we're going to ask you to evidence how you've done that differently or better. So the things you are thinking of doing, please, let the anxiety go away. The risk reduction focus maybe can be calmed down a little bit for a more passionate approach to innovation. So that'd be good. The other thing is, if you're doing, shout about it. Remember, you don't really want to be care home A, you want to be care home B. So in any care organization, whoever you are, I think please do it and shout about it. If you've implemented a system and it went right first time, CRMs, payroll systems, rostering systems, medication systems, assistive technology, sensors, if you've done any of those things and they've gone well, please shout about it. It's going to make a big difference. It's going to allow CQC to signpost you as a centre of excellence for this stuff. And that's where you're going to want to be on this one. So please make sure you're outward facing and you're shouting about the good things you're doing. And the third one, this is a bit selfish, but I am a company that supports care organizations to solve their problems using cool tech. Please reach out for expertise. Reach out to other care organizations that might be doing something really well and learn from them. Reach out to organizations such as mine and others that can help care organizations embrace technology and, to use the CQC's phrase, to accelerate improvement. So yeah, there's the 3 things that I'd love you to consider on that one. So that brings us to the end of the 4 boxes. It's been really interesting. Holes in boxes without equality in. I think CQC are right in this being a 5-year strategy. If I'm cynical, look out for year 3, 4, and 5 to actually see much change. If I'm really cynical, look out for year 5. But CQC have got a lot on. They've taken a lot on. They're going to do a lot of things differently. Help them to do it. They're going to do a good job in England. They are. So we need to help them. share data with them, engage your communities, be outward facing, do all the things that I've suggested on this one. But for those interested, I'm going to be doing a couple more videos. I'm going to do a video that deep dives into the smarter regulation one around how we can manage our data and what tools and systems we could use to help that one. And I'm going to do a deep dive on accelerating improvements, because that shouldn't be scary, but it's going to feel scary. It shouldn't be expensive, but it's going to feel expensive. So I'm going to do deep dives on those two. And anything anybody else wants me to talk about, please reach out through the website, and we'll do far more information around these things if it helps you. But yeah, been an absolute pleasure. Please just keep doing what you're doing, keep going out there every single day. You're angels. Thank you so much.